Hi, so this is Shirley Oya, relationship coach for the non-ADHD woman. And today I want to talk to you about what happens when you blow up once again. And the first thing I want to say is forgive yourself because it is super hard to stop doing the thing that we most want to stop doing. And you may have even asked yourself, why do I still do this, even though I don't want to? And I've talked to dozens of women who will say to me, I feel so bad. I want to be able to do it. I want to be able to respond differently to my partner. And I don't know why I keep doing this. And the reason is partially because you don't feel like you have a right to your anger. And you do. We all have a right to feel what we feel. And of course, we don't want to, we don't mean to blow up. And the reality is, you're going to do it because there's a reason why you have a habituated neural pathway in there that has been used so many times. These neural pathways get set very early on in our life or later on. But either way, the more you use it, the more it just is a slippery pathway that you just go automatically into. We also have a negativity bias as humans where we're just geared to looking for the negative. And so all of that kind of sets us up for a situation where even if you say to yourself, okay, day one, I'm going to try not to get triggered when my husband or my partner, interrupts me for the 10th time. And then day two, you're doing fine. And, you're biting your tongue and you're holding back. And then day three, you explode. Okay. This is really, really common. And this is why we think that, if we just try harder, we're going to be able to change. And it's not that easy, but it is simple. And the reason is that for any change to take place, it really happens in a deeper part of our brain, in the emotional brain. And that takes a little longer. It doesn't have to take years and decades, though. Okay. I have found in my years of doing all the work that I've done, both personally and professionally, that it doesn't have to take decades. It doesn't have to take years, and certainly doesn't have to happen inside a couples therapy room. I found that in general, that's not all that effective. And so I'm here to tell you that while, I am not a couples therapist and my goal is to work with just you, the woman, because I know that when I work with a woman, she impacts 10, maybe 50 other people. And so, getting back to the whole part of, feeling your anger, that first of all, the first step I take with people is to teach you how to actually feel it and process it so that you can let it go. And then you're less likely to be so emotionally charged when you get triggered. We all get triggered. Okay. So I want you to forgive yourselves. And the way to work on it is to not think about, I don't want to be something or I don't want to do something. It's instead create ways of being that you do want. Okay. So they're new habituated behaviors that we can create. And that takes a little bit of time. It doesn't have to take forever. And so it's also why, for example, executive coaching works really, really well. And in that case, you've got a boss who wants behavior change in their employee. And I've worked with dozens of people under this situation. And it works incredibly well because in real time, they have to act and do a new behavior. So that over time, those other neural pathways, the ones that would, have you explode, get used less often. They don't disappear, but they don't get used as often. And in the meantime, you're creating new pathways. So those habits start to become your go-to and your default mode. And again, this is, it's simple but not easy, and it doesn't have to take a long time. So it starts with really forgiving yourself and being patient with yourself and understanding that it's normal human behavior for that to happen. And so And I also want to say, if you're in a situation where you're, being abused, that's a whole nother ball game. So certainly, find a safe place, make sure you get help. But we're talking about just a garden variety, everyday kind of thing. And especially when you're married to an ADHD person or in a committed relationship with them, and especially if they've been treated, you might think, well, I should be able to, everything should be fine now. And reality is you're both human and you're going to push each other's buttons. And those buttons have been there since, decades ago or years ago. And you just have to create new buttons. Okay. And that's what I do with my women in my program called Clear and Connected. So if you want to learn more or find out a little more about the details, it's a healthy mid four figures. And in 8 weeks, my clients shift and change their behaviors in tremendous ways. And again, it's all about practice. And that's the key, actually dedicated practice. When you're doing it on your own, it doesn't happen so easy. We get caught up in our busyness and we're in the throes of the relationship and we forget. And you have to realize this is change that's going on in a deeper part of the brain. If it was just consuming information, we'd all be living perfect lives, right? We all are saturated with information, but transformation is a whole nother thing. And transformation doesn't have to happen over years. So if you're interested to find out more, DM me and I'll give you some details. I'm formally launching Clear and Connected, my one-on-one intensive program in the fall. And I'm taking a couple of clients in the next couple of weeks, but formally launching then. So you will hear more from me. And I hope that's helpful. And I want you to stay hopeful and forgiving and compassionate to you. Take care.